Hello, if you're wondering how to make a base or how to maintain your base with mats and stuff, I'm gonna do a tutorial on that for Havoc Games, because, a few people need to know, so I'm gonna do that. Alright, basically, your base consists of 5 major elements, and that's armory, storage, farm, gunsmith, and walls. On PvE, which is what I'm currently on, you don't need walls, because walls just change your base HP, and how long your base would basically last in like a PvP scenario where if your base is being attacked. So you don't ever need to upgrade walls. It's just completely wasting mats. The other thing you do not ever need to upgrade is farm. So farm doesn't actually change anything. It just gives you more carrots and you can buy items in the shop. Basically, you can go to the shop and here's food. You can just buy soup for 66. A whole stack is 4,000. So it's not that bad. All right, so the major thing that most people need to know about bases is how to maintain your mats and how upgrades work. So basically, deposit/withdraw resources. This is how you can deposit money. But for regular mats, all you need to do is essentially just click on your beacon. So you're going to right click, which will deposit the mats. Now, obviously you can, separate them out. And if you have them like this, let's say that was 3 stacks, you can crouch click to deposit them all. So you don't have to worry about that. Now your gunsmith and your armory are going to generate items. So these can generate metal and cloth, essentially, for mats. So that's a renewable resource. And for wood, you can buy barricades and scrap them, which is simple as taking the item, putting it in your crafting grid, and then taking out the mats. All right, now on to view tiers. So for in this case, Armory Tier 5, this will show you the percentage chance that you have of getting different items. So military gear has a 34% chance, Riot is 43, Commonwealth is 13, and Juggernaut is 8. Now, if I wanted to upgrade, I'm going to essentially use a different thing to demonstrate what would happen. Like, let's do farm. I'm not actually going to upgrade this, but you would click upgrade farm, and it would cost you this. To upgrade from tier 2 to tier 3, you would click resource upgrade, and then it would start to upgrade. You need to have those mats in your base. Next thing is daily upkeeps. Daily upkeeps is this. You have enough materials for 38 daily upkeeps. It costs 45 of each mat and $5,700 to maintain the space each day, every 24 hours. Now I have 4,000 metal, 1,700 cloth, and 1,900 wood, and $347,000 in this base alone, which gives me 38 total daily upkeeps. Yeah, it's not that good for the amount of stuff I have in here. But that's because I have walls that are upgraded. The reason the walls are upgraded is because I bought an unclaimed base. And an unclaimed base is when it looks just like this normal base, but you can run the command /base claim. And that will then allow you to claim a base if you have enough money. All you need to claim an existing base is just money. You don't need any mats. Now for view tiers, obviously you have all these things to upgrade. This is the essential, the chances that you get those things. Now manage members, you can add a member, toggle your team access. That's if you create a team with /team create user and then name for that team. And then manage members is to choose who you're going to kick or if you're not going to kick. This is my teammate right here, and he's co-owner so that he can do the same things I can. The other thing is your storage. This is your base storage. I'm not going to open mine because I don't need to be getting inventory glitch. All right, so that's the basics of how your base functions, essentially. You just need to know daily upkeeps, make sure this is not 0, and make sure you take your stuff out of your armory and your gunsmith, because you'll want more stuff to generate. One major thing that you're going to want to notice is that you see this is a base with tier 1 everything. This has very few mats, only 100 wood. This has 17 daily upkeeps versus how my massive base had way more mats, but it only had 34. This is because as you upgrade your base, it's going to cost you more mats to upkeep your base because you're making it a better base, essentially. All right, so this map here is basically, it's the map of most of the playable map. You have some areas that you can play down lower than the 8th file on the map, which is, D9 and C10, for example, which are areas where bases, usually there's a lot of bases down there that are open. Now, the major thing is if you're looking down, look to F7 and G7. you'll see Hartsfield, lots of supplies. That area has a lot of military gear, which can be scrapped for cloth, and a lot of riot, which can be scrapped for metal. So that means you can cover 2 of your types of mats completely easily if your base is not generating enough mats. If your base only generates a few pieces of armor or guns per day, you're not really getting that much cloth and metal. If you go to Hartsfield, all you have to do is walk down. You can warp to School Safe Zone, which is pretty close. You can track it on your compass, or you can just head towards the southwest or southeast of School Safe Zone, which brings you here. This is a military base, aka Hartsfield. Now there's lots of bags, and it's a tier 3, so you're not getting any commonwealth, which most people would be like, oh, but that's bad. It's not. See, I'm getting riot gear, which will automatically allow me to quite easily get a few mats. So as you see these, you can get all these bags. Also, I'm going to point out this building one more time for the video so you guys can understand exactly what this is. This building right here, there is an underground bunker which you can access very easily. Alright, but before we go down to that bunker, we're going to show you 3 other loot spots in this area. First is the back of this plane. As long as you keep looting this, you should end up with a very good amount of mats just from this. You shouldn't have to loot that much more. Now this is all the stuff I got just from that one plane. Got 2 barricades that can be scrapped for wood, bandages which can be scrapped for cloth, and riot gear which is perfect for scrapping for metal. So that's area number 1. That's pretty good. You get a decent amount of stuff from there. Area number 2 is this tower. If you go up to the top, you know, there's loot up there. I'm not going to go up there because I don't need to technically go up there because obviously there's a door right there. You go up and it's simple as that. One thing of semi-importance to note is that all tier 4 guns except for the Gatling gun can be scrapped for 1 stack of metal, an entire stack, or sold for decent amounts of money. The other looting spot right here is this helicopter. This one doesn't have quite as many loot bags as the plane, but it does have a few. You can see this right here. It says broom, scraps for 6 something, but the icon is missing. This scraps for 6 wood, essentially. There's other items that you can see that will say it scraps for a certain amount of stuff. You can grab those and scrap them to see what it'll drop. Alright, so as you've seen, those loot spots have gotten me all this loot. Now what I'm going to do is put it all inside of a duffel bag so that we can show you exactly how many mats you can get estimated from each run. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to show you all the spots. I'm going to skip all the boring parts of me looting bags, and I'm going to show you all of the major areas. So let's go into the building that we previously went into, this one with the yellow banner. Alright, since we're inside the building, this here accesses its vault, and you can access the bunker. But first we're going to go over here and grab these 2 bags that are in here. Alright, this one major room here is right below this elevator. This room has several bags that you definitely need to grab as you're going through here because, you know, it's got quite a few materials and all sorts of stuff. And remember, every single tier 4 gun that you can ever get scraps for exactly 64 metal, which is the maximum scrap amount, which is very practical. So if you have quite a few tier 4 guns, you can scrap for metal if you need metal. Now metal will become very common as you go, and eventually you can sell those mats for 1k per stack, which is the common agreed upon sale. Alright, now I'm going to show you one more spot that is in this bunker, which is useful to note. You turn right at the intersection here. I'm going to, basically you see this room right here. You come down, it's essentially the same way. So when you come down, you're facing this way. So you turn, and this entrance right here, you can go through. Now the first intersection you see, you're going to take the right. Now you don't have to loot that much through here, because you'll get quite a few mats. Now right here, turn right again, and here you are at the vault. This has quite a few bags, which you can loot each and every single one of them, and get quite a few materials. Alright, it's time to see how many mats did we actually get just from looting that one very short route. I just thought of some of you are probably wondering, how do I get money for barricades to buy barricades? Because if you're broke and you don't have any, you might not really have enough money to get some in the shop. basically looting this route that I've just shown you can give you these, which are Beretta 50 cals or Beretta 50 cals and Desert Eagles. These can sell for this is 900 and this one is $1,000 to sell. Now just selling 250 cals and a riot gear mask will get you 1 stack of barricades, 2 stacks of wood essentially, because each stack of barricades is about 2,200 roughly. So it's pretty cheap to get barricade stacks, and it's easy to get the mats, and very easy to get all of the money for it too. You can use the same route to get money for your base. This is mainly I would use this for if you're starting base, like brand new, haven't really played that much. Like if your base is not over if it's all under tier 2 or tier 2, you can do this route and you'll have a surplus of mats. If it's over tier 2, I would recommend trying out a different route, which I will upload a video on that later in the week probably. Alright, this is all of the mats that I got from one route in Hartsfield. Subscribe if you want to see more routes that you can possibly do for your base and more tips and tutorials.